6:45, so that's what I'm be home for the walk there.
All right, we officially start the meeting at 6:01.
Yes.
And then, everybody get the meeting minutes from October.
Yes.
Yes.
Any comments or changes?
I think the only thing is just making sure we've got the dates at the end of the minutes. Recognizing the recording was kind of off. The last few conversations were more just cleanup conversations. So I motion to approve with the addition of the dates. And then I think that'll be good from there.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask a quick question to the post? And so the minutes went from June and the next one was September. We didn't have a July or August, right? Or we would have had one, but there wasn't a quorum.
We didn't have a quorum.
Right, so it should go from 6 then to 9
No, yeah,
and October.
yes.
All right, just check.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's right, that's what it was. December 19th.
All right, friends update.
Let us see, on October 22nd, there was a Dairy Queen fundraiser, which netted the princely sum of $380. And
Nice.
we're in the ballpark, that's really good. So we were very thankful for that. There was a flower arranging class on the 4th.
Oh, I heard that was really good.
At the jump, and
Yeah.
apparently it was very good in the place, so that was good.
I missed it.
And what was the place? Lucille's, 16, was Uxbridge there, at that little antiques. Maybe I think they're pawn shop. Yes, very well. And then, they're working on a holiday. The original Greek lady is not available this year because she opened a shop of her own.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
That's
so-
so exciting.
They're working on something else for like a holiday centerpiece or a flower arranging or something, but right now the timing isn't aligning and the quality for price that they're getting quoted isn't so magnificent with a low tech. So that's up in the air. There might be something in the new year. I'm not positive about that. There'll be a felting class taking place, I believe, in the new year at some point. Katrina, felting, yeah, felt craft or something. I'm just the messenger.
I've seen felting.
Yeah. So that sounds intriguing. Katrina is working on the story trail at West Hill Dam.
Yes.
And BVT, a staff member of BVT has expressed some interest, so there might be some synergy there, but that's, how the.
Being asked, she actually reached out to me and asked me if she could make it, make a meeting when I was available, that she would love if I would go with her. She just felt like I don't know, she kind of felt she needed another person there for, confidence or whatever for presenting. So I was like, of course, I'm happy to go with you or whatever. So she was trying to make that arrangements, but I haven't heard back. I gave her some dates and I haven't heard back.
Okay, very cool. And then the last thing is, the do-it-yourself craft day for the kids for Christmas, will be, holiday season will be on 7th of December, around 9 to 12, I believe. At least for volunteer people. That is the time. So all of those things are happening and we'll give you an update next month when anything else goes on.
Thank you. Director's report.
Oh, yeah, I do have one.
Don't say.
Yeah. Okay, so, the senior abatement workers have been very well. I think everybody knows, or I mentioned that, they have 100 hours a year. So, that's kind of finite in terms of how often we'll have to be able to have them. I'll use them for as long as we can. Right now, Jeff, one of our senior abatement folks, and then a volunteer, Sarah Burkhardt. I don't know if anybody remembers her. She used to be a trustee. She's coming in on Wednesdays, and she and Jeff have been doing shelf reading of the nonfiction section. She's really good because she took the last section of nonfiction yesterday and then also did biography like within 2 hours, which is
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, she moved, and she's actually done some library work before, so that's a good thing. An encouraging thing I heard is that she actually applied or wants to do senior abatement as well. She's on a wait list. Should she be able to move off the wait list into senior abatement status? I told Amy that we would like to continue having her work with us.
Okay.
So that's the hope. The next, hopefully in this next year, that's gonna happen. Crossing fingers. Let's see. All the November workshops are covered. However, even with two senior workers and volunteer and an on-call employee, there's still gaps in the schedule and the gaps that I'm filling. Last week I went down, was it 6 hours?
Mhm.
6 additional hours at the desk, and it's not horrible. Done it before, and I'm actually there. I can actually, one good thing about having an office that is
Sure.
is that you can basically see what's going on, so that's good. But I am considering an additional library technician position. I don't know if that's like 8 or 10 hours a week. I think I can swing the 3 hours that Chris no longer does on a Tuesday. Pair it with the 4 hours additional we got this year, so that's 7, and see if I can come up with a couple more. So I need to look at that. I want to see what happens or what the money looks like once, well, provided the COLA increase goes through at the town meeting, if everybody remembers. There was a 2% increase for the year, and then it was moved to a 4%.
Mhm.
So I'd like to see what that looks like post-meeting, provided that gets approved, and then go from there as far as looking into another position, as long as everybody's okay with that.
We'll all attend town meeting on Monday.
Monday,
Mhm.
it's on my calendar, so I'm
Yeah.
hoping to.
If anybody have any thoughts about that or concerns about an additional person? I'm looking for guys to
No concerns.
continue to.
What do you think has caused that shift?
I do know, like back in the day, we had staff who, honestly, didn't take it. We had a break. Because there was never the need to sort of try to piece together schedules and that. Just different makeup of the staff and time away and,
Hi,
yeah.
trustees.
Oh. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
That's for Mrs.
oh, thank you. Excellent. See you.
See everybody.
So yeah, what the other reasons? I just really think it's part-time folks, right? It's sitting home. It's not a way to say that you're not gonna be able to do this or that. I think that's the situation, and so it's just kind of for individuals who are away. And like I said, the senior folks have been great so far about picking up hours, but as I said,
They can only pick up so much.
there's only so many, they're actually not just doing hours here. They're doing hours with Ellen like they did at the election.
Voting, yeah.
And I've seen Jeff doing some work for some other departments, so. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. The other problem or the other issue is that literally half the staff, this is just one of their jobs.
Sure.
They have 2-3 jobs.
Yep.
So, just trying to find a workaround.
That's the fun part of managing a dynamic staff.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because that means people are bringing more skills we would just naturally have for just full-time folks who are just doing this day to day. That's great. That's cool. Makes it more challenging for us over here. But
Right. I mean, and my hope is that with senior abatement folks, if they're still interested, both of them have said to Amy how much they enjoy working here. So that's great. And if they can come back this next year, they've already been trained on the system. So we'll see where we can go with this. And I wouldn't have really brought this up if I sort of looked at things over the last couple of months to see, hey, can this work in this fashion with senior folks? And it works to a certain extent, but not entirely to my expectation. but
Makes sense.
When does the 100-hour clock start?
Isn't, I think it's fiscal year, isn't it?
So-
Fiscal year? Or no? Do you know?
Yeah,
I would assume it's a fiscal year, so it starts July 1. and then,
So January 1st, it does its reset.
yeah.
I know.
it'd be nice. Then, I mean, it might solve the problem, but.
Yeah. I don't think, based on when I'm talking to Amy this morning, I don't think that would be the case. It'd be nice,
Too
but
bad.
yeah, if it was the calendar year.
Right.
Just a couple things to keep in mind. Library is open, or will be open 10 to 2, Thanksgiving Eve, closed on Thanksgiving Day. Couple times which I'm away in December. I have arranged for coverage of both of my Friday shifts on those days. The library will be closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then just looking forward, New Year's Eve, we will be open 10 to 2 and then closed New Year's Day. Let's see, facilities. So I did get all the lights in.
Cool.
And I have contacted the 2 electricians that you mentioned and the one that Dan uses at Parks.
Cool.
The 3 quotes were much more reasonable than $2,200.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although Robinson Electric gave me a quote, but I have a feeling I didn't mention to them the 2 bulbs that are out at the periodical section. So the quote they gave me was $450. My guess is, if anything, he maybe tack on 100, 200 or something, be like $650. Laughlin Electric would do both the children's area and upstairs, the periodicals area for $750. And then I heard from Joe Bianchi, who's the individual that Dan uses for Parks, and his quote was for $625. A lot more reasonable. So I'm gonna choose one of them, and we'll go from there. I want to talk to Robinson Electric first, just to see what the quote would be with periodicals area, but honestly, any of those are far more reasonable. J&J.
Well, and the next part, we know they're reliable.
Right,
So
exactly.
I've done work with both Laughlin and Robinson.
Yeah,
I stand behind them. I trust them. So it's,
yeah, they're all nice guys who came in and we talked everything through and they honestly didn't feel it was too, major of a job, but I said, I just don't want to go up there and be fiddling with it.
nor should you.
No.
You don't want it to be there.
No, not gonna do that. Okay, so the bid document for repair and asphalting of the parking lot is posted.
Nice.
It's now on the town website. I went back today and I contacted 3 of the contractors and gave them the link so they know. And they got back to me and said, thank you very much. One of the contractors I had heard stories about, and I wasn't interested, so I did not send them the link. Anyway, it's available to view online on the town website. The bids, I believe that the due date on the bids is the December the 4th. So there's not a ton of time for them, but next week, Friday at 10 a.m. is a walkthrough sort of with any contractors who show of the lot itself. I don't know if Jeremy will be there. I certainly will be and walk around contractors, although, and because obviously some of them could be ones that I haven't had stopovers. So, so that's moving on, which is great. Of course, we did talk about the fact that this will be a spring project, most likely. The only issue is, Jeremy stopped over here with Chief Kersey to take a look at parking and whether or not there was the ability for people to park when the lot was being worked on, and there's not really a safe way to do that.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna be closed during that time. I've heard different things, could be 3 or 4 days, I've heard a week, I've heard a week and a half. Most I've heard is a week and a half. I hope it's not a week and a half. It would be nice if it was just a week. So we'll see, but just to give everybody a heads up on that, that we will probably need to close during that.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, it probably, I mean,
Well, you can kind of park on the road, but that's
yeah, but
just.
then you're having people, how do they even access the library? Because then they still have to come around
Yeah,
somewhere to get the entranceway, you know what I mean?
yeah, even if you tried to like walk along a little strip of green over
Yeah,
there.
it's not worth it,
No,
it's not worth it,
Um,
and then you're in the way of the construction, you know, not the construction people, but, you know, the workers and whatever, it's not worth it.
unless the company itself said, well, like, for now, you can park over here, whatever.
And if nobody, to be honest, if nobody's here, they'll get it done a heck of a lot faster than if
Yes,
they're trying to work around
right.
people.
Peoples.
But that's true, very true. Newest Landscaping, did their first pass, end of October for the fall cleanup. November 29th, they did their second pass. First pass was like $2.99. I didn't have to have them tackle the bushes and overgrowth, if everybody remembers or told, but I had a different landscaping company come in to do the cleanup over there. That worked out great. I would use them again, certainly. And I think they were, was it $250 maybe, I think, or something like that, it wasn't too bad. Let's see. I'm gonna skip forward real quick, just because we were talking about the parking lot. On the last page. Just wanna talk about, yeah, so I was at the select, or I was tuned into the select board meeting on October 16th, and they were asking about the foundation for the carriage house.
Okay.
That came down. And they asked, well, what are you gonna do with that? And I said, well, I don't exactly know. They said, well, could you like fence it in and like make it an enclosed spot or something like that, like, and have it be usable space? I said, well, I'm gonna take a look at it and I can certainly mention it to the trustees. Having gone over and taken a look at it, as everybody probably knows, the back lot here is going to be spaces, so we won't be a lot of picnic tables
Mhm.
back there. And I thought, well, how many, could we put picnic tables over there? Maybe, like, the foundation itself, if you you could get 2 in there. And that's about, if you use the the turn in, whatever you wanna call it. You could potentially get 3, maybe 4. But I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about that or what we wanna do with it, if anything. Anyway, I said I would just put it out there and let you all know that they were wondering.
I think it's wise to take steps to put some type of railing around it, just from a safety perspective.
Right.
It's not a huge fall, but the last thing we want is a kid going for a tea kettle,
Right.
and landing on the stomach or something like
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Or.
Right.
I was going, I didn't say it. But honestly, and as silly as it is, we talked about where the trash and the recycling bins would be.
Right.
That's
Right.
a spot for it.
Yeah.
Because they made it, we want the spaces to be,
Yeah.
so that we could use the space at least for something like that.
I would be able to, if you really wanted to, like, put a picnic table over there.
Sure.
Typically, when we do events, we haven't used all 4 tables. We've used probably 3 at a given time, but like if you wanted to put one over there and then do.
Yeah.
The only question with the
Can you
bids
put
is,
the 3 on the grass out, just.
well,
beyond
that's the only thing is that like.
Is that
Parks
level
then
enough?
has to somehow like cut around them and that,
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean, like, cause you got the grass issue. So that's the only thing I'm wondering about, cause. Parks.
Is it level enough back there?
On the grass?
Yeah, right here, like just.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely level enough. And that's something that we certainly could do. But we'd have to figure out like what way we wanna maintain that, like,
What if
we
we
need to
were
buy
to-
a weed whacker, I don't know.
Well, or what if we had one of the landscapers quote out putting mulch down or like gravel down and make it like an area that's flat specifically for the tables that doesn't need to be mowed.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Every now and then, the brain still works, weirdly enough.
Listen, I seriously. What is it? Yeah, all right, so like pavers or like mulch or gravel.
Doesn't even, papers are gonna be more expensive.
Yes.
Mulch is probably cheapest, or even like crushed stone or, gravel.
Yep.
Might not be a bad option either.
Yeah.
It's nice and level then,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to
Yep.
mow it, so then the whole mowing issue goes away. Cause I know we discussed that earlier too, that was the original concern.
In terms of the safety piece of it, going back to the foundation, I don't have a problem us looking into what railings. As far as the bins go, don't they need to be able to access them pretty easily though, those bins?
Oh, the truck actually pulls up to them? Is that
that's
how
what
it
I'm
works?
wondering,
Yeah, they do.
They pull up to them back where they're.
I believe so, I mean. I've never seen it. It's a mystery. And some, I don't know when they come by.
There's the black hole in your trash can.
No, seriously. It's look in there and it's empty.
Get a few more.
Magic.
Is the regular E.L. Harvey or whoever does our regular
I
trash?
thought it was hard, but I don't know what day that is, and I don't know how I missed it, but I am. I've never seen them.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you know what, we can actually call Harvey and ask him.
Yeah.
There's gotta be somebody at the Board of Health that knows the trash schedule and
Yeah.
Oh,
when you normally get picked up.
They don't want to hear from you.
I can call, who's the head of Board of Health?
Jack.
Yeah. I can ask him what day they usually stop by. And they'll be like, oh, well, that's what I never see them. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, because that's not a bad, if
that's
that's
not a bad place for it.
for them, but if the truck has to physically, and now that they have the little
Right.
thing that picks it up, if,
I mean, if you place them at the front of the foundation of the former, carriage house, I think that they would be able to access pretty easily. They don't have to be on the.
right, but they have to pull up
But
side,
they'd have to
like,
be
they have to be able to pull up sideways to it.
Exactly.
We obviously don't want to make more work, like any of the
Right.
staff.
No,
We don't want to change something that's going to cause a challenge.
Right.
right,
But it's true that we need to come up with a solution because we're not gonna have that space anymore for those, so,
But I would agree, we probably need to look at some sort of railing.
yeah.
We've talked
Yeah.
about it briefly in the past, but we need to do something because it is a safety issue the way it is.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just a simple railing, or maybe we're gonna use the space for something else. If we're gonna put trash cans there, simple railing is all we need.
right.
If we're gonna make it like a seating area, or like, even if you were to do a little gazebo cover over it, which would be really cute with a table,
Right.
then you still want railings. But then it's gonna be a little fancier than a very simple.
Yeah.
Right.
metal railing.
Well, I mean, I
When
guess.
putting trash cans over there.
Yeah,
No.
Not the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would say, everybody can just kind of start to think about it.
What is the, measurements, do you know?
I didn't measure it. But like I said, I think if you could definitely fit 2 picnic tables on it if you wanted to, it would be space between them and on either side. But I can measure it out.
I mean, as far as, I like the idea of having them all together, especially if you potentially use them for events.
Right.
So I like the idea of the landscaping, doing it, whether it's mulch or
Sure.
gravel or
Yeah.
whatever. I think that's a good
I think
idea
that
right
could, yeah,
there.
that would be good. Yeah. And, like I said, I don't know how much space is at the very back, but like as far as that strip of space.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you could fit them like parallel or to the parking lot, or if it would be more perpendicular, could you do it? So I don't know, we'll have to look to see, but I'm sure there's plenty of green space back there.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to skip ahead on that. So back to budget. 24,146.46 was spent for the month. 31% spent through the total budget, to this point, through October. Obviously, at this point, you probably only be around 33%. Let's see, 3,634 spent in books for the month. It's better than it was last month. I think it was about half that last month. This next month is going to be pretty sizable because there's a junior library guild, which is like a yearly or annual bill that we get for children's books through junior library guild. And we're gonna be getting, or I did get the bill for all of our magazine subscriptions. So those two just by themselves are about $10,000. So that, along with other purchases we make for the month of November, in December, I suspect the books number is going to be pretty sizable, which is good. Let's see. One other larger area of expenditures, programming, 2,300 was spent for the month. We're doing all right with programming. I think we're at about 50%, which spent through, which is not too bad, considering that summer is usually the time we have more programming than on other times of the year, but we should be okay there. Let's see, programs. Doing very well. Itty Bitty still has like 30 people at least per session every time. Most of the story times are very well attended. Let's see. Some of the adult programs have really good attendance. Jeff Langer's Ghost and Legend program at 40.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Excuse me, yeah. We had, I think it was 2021 for Greg Dwyer, that was a good program. I think we're gonna have him back actually this next year, it sounds like. Science of Demand is going well. Have about 25 to 28 kids each time. Music and Movement had like 36 participants, which is pretty good because usually she has around 15 to 20. So, and the Halloween party had close to 50 attending. So numbers are good there. Let's see. Upcoming November events.
Did everyone see the Snow White and the Three-Year War?
That's right. That was from the.
I'll make sure of that.
Let's see. So we've had a couple, like Kidding Around Yoga even had like around 20 participants the other day.
That's so funny.
Let's see.
I didn't even see that training.
Oh, I've seen it. Jane was working upstairs tonight, is starting her awards book club this next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be about 3 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year. So that's a new program that's been rolled out. All of the programs doing well, and it's about it for programming section. Projects. So I have another volunteer potentially coming in this next week, I hope. I'm gonna have her learn some materials processing. She's a junior at BBT and just reached out one day and said she wanted to help, so I said, okay. Sure. And at some point, might have her do some shelf reading, maybe down here in the adult area. We all have our sections for shelf reading. The issue is us being able to get to those sections often because between patrons and processing and all sorts of things, getting to the shelf reading, especially after the summertime, could be tough. So the fact that we're able to use some seniors and some volunteers on that is great. So that's really working out well. Oh yeah, so end of support for Windows 10 in October of next year. So I spoke with Jeremy, and he mentioned something about potentially, it's going to be department wide and having to do a change. There are some of our PCs that are on Windows 10 we have to swap out. My thought was, though, in the lead up to this, because it sounds like it'd be something that would probably be done maybe June, July, maybe. In the strategic plan, there's a section on technology and having a technology inventory in that, and so I thought maybe on the lead up to this would be a good time to get all of our ducks in a row for changing over. A couple of the computers, some of the CERT computers are already on Windows 11. I don't even think my computer's on Windows, so we're gonna have to swap out some office computers also. Let's see. Town news. Okay, so we talked about the Carriage House Foundation. I did hear from Representative Merck. Okay, and he said that the Executive Office of Economic Development reached out to him in early November, asking for contact information for earmarks that were approved. He provided our information, said we should anticipate hearing from them in the near future. I have a feeling though that they probably have to reach out to the MBLC because I think the MBLC has to administer this. Just remembering what happened last time with feasibility study, I typically have to do like a quarterly report for them, status report.
Yeah.
So that's my expectation. I think it's coming.
Yeah, sounds very promising.
Yeah, so that's good. Architectural firms, Ellen Agro had a great idea, and I hadn't thought of this. That should contact former trustee Amy Fahey because works for Antonio architectural firm, about firms that do adaptive reuse. So Amy then sent back a very nice response and gave like 5 different architectural firms.
Awesome.
She did ask about use of the previous architect, and I said it sounded to me like we wanted to go in a different direction. But yeah, there was 5 different firms. A couple of them are around here. There's one in Hopkinton, one in Pawtucket, some a little further out.
Who's the one in Hopkinton?
Hopkinton is GRLA. That's another one out of Cambridge is PRA Architects. Fall River Civitex Architecture. She said most of these, if not all, would do adaptive reuse because it's just really part of that's becoming much more what's the word? Much more prevalent to try to reuse.
It's sort of, yes, it's encouraged.
Yes,
now.
yeah.
I mean, I know like
Yeah.
August in our DLS, so the
Yeah.
Division of Local Services, they
Yeah.
had it as an item to like consider buildings for adaptive reuse.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I feel like, yeah, it's a shift.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, she said BKA Architects out of Quincy and LLB Architects out of Pawtucket, and she just mentioned a couple people who worked at those firms. So it's a good jumping off point when we get there. Let's see. Yeah, I already talked about the microphone. Hopefully it's picking everything up.
Yeah.
To swap up. So hopefully that's all set. Regional news, Users Council meets next week. They'll be voting on FY26 budget for CW Mars and the FY26 individual library assessments. Looking at it to this point, it looks pretty similar to the past few years' assessment, so I don't see anything unusual there. We should be, the Taft State Aid Award should be announced in either December or January. The state aid line increased by 20 million for FY25. So that means that everybody's state aid will increase. I don't know how much, but it should be a nice little bump from what we've had previously. Hopefully by the December meeting, I'll have a figure for you, but it might take till January, depending on when they meet to make those forwards. See, budget report. Just a couple of things to note. Right now, we spent through 33.2% or 2% of the salaries budget. I should note though that that's a figure that is doesn't take into account that additional COLA. So really it'd probably be less than the 33% if that had. Yeah, so, and like I said, I'll assess the potential additional position once I know what the numbers are following the town meeting. Let's see, contracted services, we spent about 52% of that. I think, I don't know if everybody remembers, but building maintenance and contracted services, a number of vendors, excuse me, certain things were swapped out. So now building maintenance accrues the majority of the services that used to be put, or excuse me, spent. What am I trying to say? The contracted services line used to be used for many of those services, but those services then were moved to building maintenance. So if you look at building maintenance and about 50% of that spent at this point, the reason is because a lot of our monthly expenses are going through the building maintenance line. We've not spent very much on fuel, 8.6% to this point. But the next 5 months or so are going to be heavier, so we'll see where we're at with that. Yeah, because usually by the time you hit December, January, the number goes up. Supplies is a little bit behind where I would think I would want it to be at this point, so I'm going to take a look and see where we're at with that and what expenditures we should be making. Books, it only says, of course, 18.4% right now. We're working on that, as I said, next month. The expenditures there should be pretty considerable. I think that's about it. The total budget spent 31%. And we'll see where that is once and if the COLA numbers are approved. Anybody have any questions about the director's report or the budget?
It's the director's report, and it's more just, if you could just enlighten us on,
Yeah.
one thing that I know Tara's been working really hard on is the new,
Oh my goodness. It's been so, yeah, okay, all right, so we had, I should have put that in, I'm sorry.
No,
All right, so this is great, no, this is really good. Maybe I'll do the, well, you know what, I'll put it into the December meeting as well. Yes, so we had, a total event keeper calendar breakdown. It wasn't us. It was across the board for literally like a week to 2 weeks. Event keeper basically crashed. I don't know what happened on their end. Event keeper is put together by Plymouth Rocket. And Plymouth Rocket is out of Plymouth. And I don't know if they were hacked. I don't know what the issue was, but literally, the system went down. People couldn't sign up for anything. There wasn't any access to the calendar, and it was like that for a good almost 2 weeks. And then Plymouth Rocket said they sent an email to say at the very tail end of all this, when we thought they had resolved their issues, that they were sunsetting Event Keeper. They have 3 different products. There's a Kit Keeper, which is like for reserving kits. There's also another one for reserving meeting rooms, and then the Event Keeper, which is a calendar, and you make your reservation for programs. But they're like, well, we're going to sunset this, and we're only going to keep Kit Keeper and whatever the other one's called, but not Event Keeper. And there was a general freak out for many libraries, because many libraries are using this and have used it for a long time. So that would have been fine, because we've been talking, or she had been talking too, about like, well, like, let's update, you know. It's an okay system, but there are better ones, and maybe we should explore that. Well, they didn't really give us much of a choice, because they said they were sunsetting it, and it was going to be closed out by November 30th. No, was it October 30th? No, I think it's November 30th, which like, no, there's no, why would we even, you know, continue to use them up through November 30th? So she very quickly identified, you know, 2 or 3 other companies. And went with what I think so far has been really good. A company called Who-Fi, they put together a very nice poster for Who-Fi. And she had to do a lot of hours to like just reconstruct the calendar. The calendar is different now. So before, where it was like almost like a list, it's an actual calendar with.
Yeah, you can view it as a list, you can
Yes.
view it as a calendar,
Yes,
you
you
can
can
view it
view
as
it.
just a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
There's much more,
Everything is color coded, and then when you go into each event, it's a lot, there's a lot more that you can see there, and it's much more self-explanatory
Yeah.
than what we had previously. So she got that up and running. It started up, I believe it was on Monday.
yeah, I think she sent it to me over the weekend to test it, so
Yeah,
yeah.
and then, yeah.
Monday, maybe
Yeah,
Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday, she had me try it out as well. And I just signed up on a particular program, she said it worked fine, so that's great. And then, that's the other issue, was that all of the people who had already registered for things
Sure.
had to be re-entered. So, our staff has been working on that and re-entering but there's no small fee. I'm sure in the report, it'll go into I'm marking it down as it's going into the December report. And I'll just give an update on where things are with it, and how it's progressed, but to this point,
A lot of hours and,
Yeah.
and still the staff has still more hours to put into,
right, to get the registrations up.
yeah.
But, I like it, I think it's cleaner than the previous one. The pen paper was fine, but I mean, it's an old system. Let's see this. Let's see, yeah, so if anybody has any questions about it, certainly let us know. And if you have feedback too, thought it was clean and works pretty well.
From
Yeah.
the user side and from, we got Alexa signed up on something, it went smoothly, extremely smoothly. It was
Yeah.
easy to use, it was easy to modify how you wanted to view it, so
Yeah,
it's working. And I know that's not easy. It's good.
no, and I mean, the work that you put into it, because and this is like a tight turnaround, was excellent, and Who-Fi themselves as a company so far have been really responsive.
Good.
I mean, literally, she talked to them the one day, I don't think it took them long to say, this is what we're gonna go with, and it was up in a couple of days, so good for her to just jump into that and get it squared away quickly. Because if we waited longer, there'd be a lot more to dig out of, so I think it's, I like it so far, certainly, but yeah, let me know. Your thoughts are on it, but, and it's good because it's an upgrade, and I think it's a newer company, if I'm not mistaken, so new way of doing things, a little fresher, cleaner. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, and I
No,
wasn't trying to cut you off. Where did we end up with the new website? I know we haven't talked
Okay.
about that in a while.
so I talked to Jeremy, and did I mention, I'm gonna forget what the name is, but he mentioned, that Bellingham uses a service, and it's, for all town departments. And then each department, because the issue before with the Mendon website, we already had a website, and then Mendon wanted to go ahead and do sort of a uniform site,
Website. yeah.
but it was very restrictive. And it wasn't gonna allow us to do what we needed to do, and so we were almost like grandfathered in with what we had. But Jeremy said that this one, the entire town can use, but then you can also tailor it to whatever you want for your site itself. And I'm gonna forget what it's called, I'll get the name of it. But he was talking about doing that, going in that direction.
We were kind of holding off. for
I
him to
think
make
so,
things-
because it sounds like it might just be a town purchase,
Okay.
you know, not necessarily specifically go through the library for purchasing it and having it. Should be great, actually.
Yeah,
And then, and I asked them too, like, I assume that because of this, and if it's the entire town is using something like this, that it'll be decent support because of the entire town using it. It sounded like that would be the case. Let me mark down, I'll get the name for everybody. It sounded like that's the direction he wants to go in. I said, that's great.
And it has accessibility features, this.
Yeah. Yeah, you mean like,
The ADA and.
oh, yes,
Reader
yeah, yeah,
text,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other thing, because I think
Yeah.
he had said that, I mean, literally, there's no department website that is ADA compliant
Right, yeah.
currently.
where on the town website would you even find the bid thing that you were talking about?
Oh,
Yeah. And not that I don't want to spend too much time on it, I'm just curious, because I tried to find it earlier.
yeah, it'd be like, I don't know, it's on the main, because it says IFB, like, invitation for bids, but, I can send you the link if you want.
No, I'm just curious, I'd like to
Yeah,
where it is on the website, like, I mean, obviously you said the
Right.
people that need to know the link, but,
right.
if they're going with a new town website, that would be nice, because I feel like this one is so hard to find things. It really is.
Just understand.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
Updated libraries.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, even just to get, and I know where to go to get it, but even just to get the agenda for tonight, there's like way too many.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. That's not it. Oh, here we go, okay. If you go to quick links
Okay,
and then down to procurement,
okay. I never, whoops, I hit the wrong thing.
and then if you scroll down a little, it says open bids, RFPs.
Okay,
See it on there?
okay, yeah, all right.
Parking improvements. But how is it, procurement?
How does that get out to companies that you didn't send the link to? Like you said, yeah, there might be companies that show up that didn't get the link. Well, how the heck do they find it?
Yeah, they're not gonna
They
find
it.
it.
No, it's
I
there.
wouldn't have gone to quick links for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, how would a regular asphalt company know that that's a bid we've
Right.
put out there if we didn't send them the link?
Right,
Unless it goes into another system.
It does.
As I say, I'm
So
sure it goes into another system.
when we were looking at that last month or 2 months ago, because of the value, it was required that open bid time, announcement time, and process to follow.
right,
That was driven by state.
okay.
So therefore, there was a state link or process that was supposed to go through.
So this probably is posted
Yes,
with the state somewhere.
And our site is just a backup to that.
it's probably the kind of the primary repository and the state links to it. 'Cause of-
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
I-
That the contractors go to
Yeah.
a state site and
And
then
there's a link from there
to
to
this
this
site. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, let's see how fast.
Show off.
There you go. So the guy who did it for a few years.
So Andrew, Civic Plus is the Bellingham.
That's it, yeah. Civic, yeah,
They
that's the one.
specialize in. them.
Civic Engage, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Civic Engage, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that's about the bidding opportunities.
Okay,
So a wide range of procurement portals and resources are available. So yeah, then there's all what's open, what's new bids, which is updated weekly. So I don't know that I can find ours in that period of time.
no, I was just curious of how, I was kind of like trying to figure out the process too, but that makes sense that they go to a state site and then find out what they want to bid off from there.
Yep.
All right, we good
Okay.
with the other.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm not saying my way.
Got it ready?
No, but I have one more thing to add, because this is written. My brain is so dumb, so I'm sorry in advance. The boat race, the 25 to 25, I found out that the master chief, my old master chief, is now the reserve master chief for the district. So we're really working to get either the district admiral or at least the chief of staff to come out to be one of the officials. It's already locked in at least two, either nonprofits or local businesses who are gonna do boats. So,
Awesome.
the one thing we don't have, we probably as a group need to chat more is really when we wanna try to do a class or at least.
Oh, yeah.
Or when we want folks to come here to use cardboard, get ideas or talk through things. And not necessarily to like guide them to how to win, but more just as an open house opportunity.
Recent leading.
I 100% agree, 100% agree. I
It doesn't
think
need to be fancy.
No, it doesn't need to
And
be.
it just looks like it's gonna sink and it
And
doesn't.
it doesn't, but that's also a great way, because that's to talk about volunteer opportunities for him to come and do something like that, but then also that growth to teach.
Right.
Which is huge, so I'm pushing, because 25 to 25, you know, that's.
Yeah,
still
I
very
agree.
much- So,
I agree.
Good, that's awesome.
I mean, the pumpkins, the scarecrow seems to be having a little bit of trouble out there, but, the sign's still on there. I mean, I drive by it all the time and I'm like, I really should stop and like, the one time I actually did prop them up and then another, cause I was here for something else and then I was like, probably just dismantle them at this point, but like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice his head was like.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
It's a sleepy reader.
My apologies, I really should have put that, sometimes I just miss stuff.
That's all right.
I wish I had missed that, because that was kind of a huge part of this class. I mean, like, literally the last 2 weeks, that's like been her life,
Yes.
with just getting that repiece together, so
So
kudos to Tara for getting it together quickly. And, yeah, anyway, so
the event keeper fee though, weren't we prepaid? or
still
song and dance?
waiting to hear back from them.
Oh.
Yes, I.
Oh, that's a good point. I
Yeah,
never really
so I
thought
have
about that.
emailed back and forth with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've emailed back and forth with them, and now there's just been a lot of, you know, radio silence.
But that's a good point, get Jeremy in the loop on that quick, and also potentially the town lawyer.
Sure, town attorney.
Because
Yeah,
that
right.
is a.
Literally, we were able to get half years, but literally, it's not even, like, we honestly should be guessing back. We'd actually be getting back about 7 months worth of the cost for that.
And not on the date of when sunsetting it, on the date of us stop use. That's a.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna likely, because of the work you guys have done, that's a lot of conditions.
Oh, yeah.
Reallocation of staff and.
Well, the date that they initially went down for that whole week.
Say, yeah.
Yeah, you could do that totally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, yeah, actually, mine's just back up.
I mean,
We weren't getting the service.
the state attorney
We
may
got
be
basically
driving that. Because how many libraries?
It's probably not acceptable.
We got a lot of finances. I don't know how many libraries, there are quite a few though, because there was plenty of traffic. But I just,
Oh, it's a class action.
choose,
Correct. Yeah.
You might be shutting down altogether.
I would say that the date that we work, be the date we want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, just incredible, I thought incredibly unprofessional. Just for all the, so, fun.
There's always a story on why.
Yeah, so back to the Concord boat class.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say we shoot for early spring, so we could do it potentially outside and
Sure.
have more space to spread around.
Yeah.
Of course, it depends on the parking lot thing, but there's plenty of grass, even if we did it on the front lawn.
Yep.
You know what I mean, where
Absolutely.
people could have lots of space and spread out.
And the front lawn's not a bad idea because then anybody driving by sees it too.
Right,
And it becomes part of the marketing and
yeah,
That's cool.
we can get some balloons or whatever, you know, deck it out.
yeah.
Do we have within the library spare funds for like the poster boards? I know you guys did for the read route during the summer, you had the puffin ones and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those could be amazing
Oh,
marketing
we could-
tools as well.
We can, Science Plus and make those.
Okay.
Nice, make some nice like versions for us. If we
Cool.
wanted to do that, yeah. absolutely.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
There's no reason not to.
No, right,
And especially when someone signs up, we get one then to post one in their
yeah,
business,
Yeah.
lawn, whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. That's actually a great idea. And I was saying to, I don't know if I said it to Tara, but we should start working on the shirt design too, because that's gonna be something that also you're gonna be like,
Sure.
oh my goodness,
Oh.
you know, I know we're gonna use the same logo that you guys have on your other shirt.
Oh, right.
But you know, it should say something like 25th anniversary or something. Or silver, something, because that's one of those things that we have to come up with a budget, we have to come up with how many are we gonna produce? Are we gonna sell the, you know, we're gonna sell them, so how much are we gonna sell them for, you know, and that makes sense to, Be a
Add a line item to
fundraiser.
the agenda, just so that we touch on this.
Oh, yeah.
Moving forward, just that we don't forget.
okay, good.
Maybe we could take a couple off.
Sure. Well, and
I don't wanna be in trouble.
Policy on this month.
We have one this month?
Well,
Yeah,
it's the start, I mean, I went through
Oh,
the first half of the emergency procedures.
But it's not ready for us yet.
No, I mean, I can do, I mean, we can, I don't know if you want to.
I can talk through it this time, briefly, just to give you, as you guys, because you have it in emails, and so that when you're
Yeah.
going through it. But yeah, it's
It's a lot,
yeah, there's a reason.
I did,
yeah,
you know,
right, of course.
I changed some words, I did the first 15 pages of 30. And changed some words around a little, I didn't make any major changes, there was one section in there about, self-locking doors, which we do not have.
Yeah.
Because it's all manual, so we'd have to excise that, I did have a couple, I don't know if you wanna go through this now, or.
Well, honestly, it's really about time. We don't need to. That's the 40,000 foot view perspective is one of the goals in the town is that this type of plan exists for each one of our buildings. So that everyone's like, our schools are already very good. You know, our SROs at the schools have already policies and plans and everything in place, and they practice it and they train it.
do.
But we don't at any of our other buildings.
Right.
And like even practicing a fire drill, something like that doesn't really happen across town. So my goal, and I say this both from the emergency manager side and also from the library trustee side, is that the library kind of becomes this new little model of saying, this works. Yes, it's a big document. It's a document that's designed to both train employees and be guidance for the staff. So yeah, anything that needs to get excised, excise. Anything like, as you guys read through it, if it just doesn't make sense, red line and forward me numbers. We can adapt and change.
And do you want, I mean, there's obviously, like this one here, my building, your area's emergency info, my building
Yeah.
isn't that something that just, we would fill in
We will, yeah.
manually and then just have it either desk?
Yeah,
Okay. And
absolutely.
then as far as like contact numbers, do you want me to just drop those in here?
Well, and that actually becomes
Because we
a
should
good,
talk about that also, as far as who should be the contact.
correct. And I think that's a big one that could come back to this team, those specific things of like, all right, so yes, there's basic contacts that you know are gonna be on there, but are there other folks that need to be
Well,
informed?
that's what I'm wondering is like, should the trustees be on this contact, sort of a representative from.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, anyway, things to talk through. I can continue with it, and I'll continue to revise it.
Please,
Have it
yeah.
all
It's,
set to go, to talk about in the next.
yeah, the cool part is the state's, library commission, where there was a whole.
Right, yes.
They had templates and drafts. I took the stuff that I had before and I took their draft and I'm like, well, that's really nice. So it
Oh,
actually fit together really well.
It's probably it was MBLC, maybe, yeah, and the same deal, like, it's nice because they have policy, MLS is a policy class, which is where I've pulled some things before. Is why I reinvent the wheel.
Right.
No,
So it's really helpful. Anyway, okay.
so that's it on that. Thanks, sorry.
No, you're fine. I just didn't realize we had one. I meant.
I
Like,
now
you're
you say that, I
spot on.
remember seeing the email, but, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I should have maybe just sent it to follow this stuff, but I.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
It's a nice read if you need the policy. I'm the first to admit it, don't be afraid.
All right, so is that all for policies at this point, or just that
Yeah,
one?
that's.
Okay, so I thought we were close to that.
Yeah, I don't have any other, unless anybody has thought of other ones. We can get to. I keep an eye out for some on the, email chat, or sometimes something comes up and it's like, oh, I guess we should have a policy for that, but I don't have anything else outside of this at the moment.
Rectory group meeting update, we haven't really met.
No, and I said I would put everything into the report for today, just because I knew Elena had to leave. I knew
Yep.
Monica had let me know that she wasn't gonna be able to be
Right.
there tonight, so. We'll just
That's fine.
incorporate.
And the one thing maybe, I know we talked about this maybe 2 months ago or something, but once we really get that earmark and the money actually coming through to likely sunset the group until
Yes.
we finally actually get the data back from the architect or however that is, then the group kind of stands back up. So respecting.
Right, and
people's-
that we are no longer a working group, is that correct?
It becomes more of a committee.
It may become a committee because it's it's based on construction and we're talking about a larger project, right? When it's possible. But we can talk to Jeremy and the other folks at town hall to make sure we follow that process.
Right.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because it would definitely be more formal when that's the case. Excuse me.
Strategic plan goals.
I talked a little bit about like technology in there. We've talked a little bit about programs and that and some of the meetings, like staff meetings. I don't have anything specific at the moment. I did sort of go back through a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of the things we have been addressing, which is great. It'd be different if we're sitting here and I was like, oh, we've tackled 2 of these, but we've actually tackled quite a few. I can go back through and check it for this next time and we can sort of
Yeah, I mean,
revisit.
Feel like we talked, last meeting, we talked about kind of revisiting every 6 months.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
So it
just
might
to
be-
make sure.
Yeah, that might be good then for next month. Seeing as it's halfway through the fiscal.
Mhm.
Um,
I do have one question
Sure.
about that, because I remember sitting through and being one of the community members involved during the process. Was this driven by a town requirement, or was this an internal decision by the trustees and the library staff to say, we need to do a strategic
Yeah, it
plan?
was a decision by the trustees because it hadn't been done, like, feasible, strategic plan hasn't been done in the entire time I've been here,
Gotcha.
and I think, I feel like they did a strategic plan back when they were trying to get that library on the corner, but that would have been a good 20-some years ago.
Having
Yeah,
it
so
in
that's
place
what I-
allows us to go to get funding eventually.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
without it, they won't consider you. So
Sure.
it's a good thing to have in place.
Oh, agreed. So I guess my next question is, what the life cycle of updating the plan? So it's a 5-year plan.
So, right,
We're into it now 3 years.
yeah, so actually, yeah, we were in FY 25, ends up in FY 27.
Cool. So we still have time before we have to
Oh, yeah.
kind of re-trigger
Yeah.
the next event.
Some of the things that we're doing now in terms of the feasibility study are FY 24, but some of them are in FY 25 as well, so we're kind of on target with that, which is good.
Cool.
I won't go through the remainder. Some of it is about hours open, probably need to revisit that. Staffing is along the same lines as hours open, but,
We're not at the point of like, we need to get the outside consulting group to come in and, kind of re-energize this. We still have another year before.
Right.
Oh, right.
2
Yeah.
before we even start that. Okay, cool. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Like I said, a lot of it we've gone over, but I'll comb through it again and in December we'll just touch base on.
Hot chocolates and strategic plan. That sounds like a great.
But I'm encouraged because we've touched on a lot of those already, which is great.
It's nice to have a plan. So you can very easily go back and say, this is what we've accomplished. We're in target for what we said we were gonna accomplish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's nice to have a plan and a target and a goal and.
And what I can highlight are the ones that we just haven't really had many conversations about at all. And we can kind of plot that out too. Sounds good.
Anything else we haven't talked about? Wanna talk about it?
I don't know.
We hit on everything.
I know that within the capital improvement working group, the library has been in clear discussion, both for the driveway, to make sure that the funds come to the driveway,
Right,
and the rectory rebuild, or whatever that's going to be. So we're, for the frustration that we had last year and feeling like we weren't necessarily in front of the folks or getting that attention, we are getting that attention,
okay.
and it's in a good way.
Yeah.
And we have positive support. So, it's really fun to see that shift happen.
Yeah,
So, yeah, and you've done a tremendous job getting us there, and Jeremy has been a great advocate
Jeremy.
for it as well. So,
been excellent. I mean, with the bid documents and that, I mean, people sat down and were like, you ever done one of these before? No. And so, but his connections are really good, and he knows individuals who've done this sort of big work before, so, I have nothing but,
Good, that's great.
Everything I've heard has been super positive in regards to him.
yeah,
In what he's been doing, and everything I hear
Yeah.
feels really positive and moving in the right direction for
Yeah.
the town.
yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that
Responsive.
before. In
Like
the
he-
entire time I've lived here.
I was gonna say.
This has been,
No,
this is
he-
very new. and
He's
it's
been
very
naming,
good.
so.
Yeah.
he said,
He sends it, and he
he
responds,
responds, yeah.
you know, so that's a great thing, so.
But thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
It matters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pleased with how it's going so far, and we'll see where we get to with the building over there, and see where we can go with that, and, but it is encouraging, it's kind of night and day.
Yeah, definitely.
It is, definitely.
Thank you.
Anything else? We've already got our next meeting set for December 19th, 6.
Thank you, by the way, because I wasn't able to do the week before.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I'm away as well.
And I assume we're gonna do, well, we'll do a rectory working group like at 7, I would assume,
Following the
Following, yeah,
block,
sure.
yeah.
We can hold that time, and if there's another chat with him, cool.
Yeah.
hopefully at that point,
A lot of money.
I almost wonder, do we need to come up with a formal list of requirements to give when we do get the earmark, when we do go to an architect?
I
Yeah,
mean,
we have to
yeah.
give
We
him
can
something,
give it like a-
right?
yeah, I mean, I can tell you how it worked last time. It was a little different though, because it was the architect who worked on this building. That there was a lot of back and forth about, you know, what are the things that we're looking to do, what is it that we want, and I think that would be valuable if we
Right, so if we can
have a
compile
clear
a
concept
list,
of what we want.
then when we sit down with them,
Yeah,
we're not just like,
Don't
oh,
feel like we have
right, and I feel like
Yeah.
there's an understanding of, you know, wanting a meeting space.
Right.
I don't know that there's been a lot of talk outside of just that particular space, so, yes, I think we definitely
Okay.
need to do that. I don't know if we want to try to, once we have the confirmation and everything's in place, to start looking at architects, if we want to have a meeting at some point, or like try to put
So,
something
so
together.
maybe our December meeting, we try to focus on, let's come up with our list of wants for that space.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
And, I mean,
also.
right, it's a wish list, and then
Yeah, we had a draft one. I'll go
We
back and.
do have a draft.
oh, okay, I
Remember,
remember
we
having
had
all
that.
that, you're right,
Yeah. I do remember that.
you're right.
But I feel like we've had conversations since then
Oh, yeah.
that have not been added to that.
Yeah.
And that vision has morphed a little, changed a
Yeah.
little. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It might be nice to go back and revisit what we originally put in there. You know, and bounce that up against some of our last conversations and make sure it still makes sense. But, you know, make sure we haven't gotten too far off of what we originally were told,
Sure.
you know.
Right,
Right.
and when we originally were talking about, although we were talking about repurposing, or whatever you wanna call that, we kind of had some bigger wishes in mind too, like, maybe we add on, maybe we do this, and not to say that that's not gonna still happen to
Right.
some degree, but
That would be my question. We don't have to keep that facade.
Because we're not playing the game right now of CPA.
CPA stuff, we don't have to worry about that.
You know, but we do have to make sure the historical department doesn't say it's a historical building.
which it isn't currently,
Correct.
but do we not want the CPA?
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't we still want this?
No, as we decided we didn't want them.
Oh, fair. Yeah,
Should be-
We don't need them for the feasibility study, but we, but
Yeah,
for,
We didn't want them for the bill.
that's true.
The issue would be how restrictive it is in order to be able to use CPA.
No, if you look at the fire department, or the police department, I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
What's up?
yeah, and even that's dicey in my opinion, that's just me.
That's not the original facade, that's true.
It has the same look, for sure.
Right, right. Okay.
So should we adjourn?
yes.
I'll put a motion forward to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, we are ending at 7:11.